Well, Christopher Hauser has shown back up. He went ahead and did a conference with Legalibus a few days ago. And now he's claiming that he has $150 million in his trust. And he's working with the Treasury. And he's working with a quote-unquote famous rapper named Wacko. Which Wacko is not famous. He's one of those types of guys who, if you know him, you know him, and if you don't, then you just don't. So I don't know where he pulled that name from, but this all just screams scam to me. It doesn't seem very legitimate at all. Now he's talking about everybody becoming international private bankers, or at least a few people becoming international private bankers, which to me sounds a lot like the SPC process, secured party creditor process, whereby you can utter negotiable instruments. So it just seems like they're hopping from one thing to the next once they realize that the 1099A stuff was bullshit. So anyways, I won't speak any further. I'll let you go ahead and take a listen to the audio. Take care.
For all the opportunities that you are putting before us to learn how to become free, we invite you in our midst. We invite your Holy Spirit in our midst to may He inspire the conversation that we're going to have tonight. May the Holy Spirit guide us so that we can become free from bondage, from financial and debt bondage, and much more. And may He inspire each and everyone in this line to seek first and foremost the kingdom of God, so that all the blessings that you have in store for each and every one of us may be made manifest in their fullness in our lives.
Amen. Amen.
In the mighty name of Jesus. Amen. Lord, God is filius spiritus sancti.
Amen.
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 All right, welcome everybody. I'm going to mute everybody, so please remain muted until we have Q&As. So tonight is is a wonderful day. Tonight we're going to be welcoming Chris back to our Q&As. But before I introduce Chris to you, I'm just going to give everybody, especially the newcomers, a quick overview of what Legalibus is about. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen, so at least you don't feel lost, right? Some of you wonder, where am I, right? So hopefully this will clear it up for you. So I'm going to share my screen, and I believe I should be able to view my screen now, correct? All right.
Yeah.
All right. So, folks, Legalibus is really, the mission of this project is really to bring about an easier format for us to learn how to become free. And, I have to admit, this project was primarily inspired by Chris Hauser's teachings. There was a need to put them together in a format that's easier to follow and learn, and that's kind of what inspired getting this platform together. So but the platform expand beyond just that. So the idea is to have a place where we could have different courses and materials pertaining to achieve certain degrees of different degrees or aspects of freedom, and to also have forums, as you guys can see, where we could discuss, maybe post different questions if we have questions, and get support. And the idea of this forum is also to have a static format where perhaps, you guys know how it gets pretty crazy in Telegram, right? You come the next day, it's hard to find what was there yesterday. But here you could post a question and everybody can contribute, everybody can help each other. You can follow different topics. For example, if I go to a particular forum like this one, you can search by topic. You could decide to open one up. You can post an answer Anybody can vote on what they think the best answer is. You can even comment. You could also just decide to subscribe to just follow one particular, topic of interest to you. And so there are general forums like the success stories forum, where you would want to go ahead and submit your success stories. And there's also the Q&A with Chris Hauser forum, which is for tonight's calls. The other forums as well are course related. For example, for each course, you have access to a particular forum on that course where you can post different questions and seek help pertaining to the materials of the particular course. So the courses so far are, for the most part, free, especially everything that Chris Hauser teaches is and remain free, because that's the spirit that Chris has brought to this movement. We definitely we're very thankful for the contribution that Chris Hauser has made so far in this movement, and the selfless giving of himself in all aspects, from teachings to Q&A to being answering questions in different platforms and so forth for everybody. So I want to make sure that you unite with me to appreciate all that. And do not hesitate to create a free account on Legalibus to follow along, and especially to be notified when there are new announcements, new Q&As like tonight, or new courses being submitted. And so that's basically. And if you feel in your heart motivated to support us, you're welcome to make a one-time donation or even make a subscription donation. That would help us to keep the project going. One last thing that I didn't mention is, so the kind of activities we have is we have the Q&A with Christopher Hauser, which used to be on Sundays, and now it's being moved to every Tuesday. Today is the first Tuesday we're doing this, so it's going to be Tuesdays at 9 p.m. with Chris. This is the part where, after you have covered the materials, right, then you can come here and bring your questions to Chris Hauser, and so forth. Make sure that you understand, in our platform, we really want to make progress. So this is not the place to just come and ask the same questions that were asked over and over and over and over and over and over. If you come and you ask questions and you study the materials, you're going to be directed to study the materials. So just keep that in mind, because we really want to make sure everybody is getting something out of this and is making some progress in learning. So every Tuesday at 9 p.m., mark your calendars. Chris will be with us to answer questions and discuss different aspects of the movement, because as you know, this is all a moving target. Things change, and sometimes we have to adapt. Sometimes we have to do additional things. So that's kind of what we're going to be, listening and discussing with Chris. So with that being said, I'm going to go ahead and say, a big welcome to. I'm going to start in for now. A big welcome back to Christopher Hauser, who is with us tonight. And so Chris will be giving us this. I believe this is the first, if you will, appearance that Chris is making after he has been away for a while. I know there are many here who are just curious about what Chris has been up to. And there are a bunch of naysayers as well in this forum who have been saying, oh, Chris is MIA, Chris is in jail, Chris is this, Chris is that. All those who lack faith as well into what Chris was doing are probably here trying to find out the facts. So welcome to you guys as well. I only have one word for those who do not have the patience and discernment to just wait. When you're given information, you're told just wait, right? I just have one word for you guys. If someone could not have just waited when Chris said, wait, I'll be back soon, right, and could not bring themselves to believe that, you might not be cut out for this race. And you might be one of those who, in the Bible it says those at the end times, when Christ comes back, those who will be saying when things get so bad, they'll be like, well, where is he? I don't think he's coming back. Look at how the world is falling apart. If you're one of those who cannot have faith, cannot try to discern the truth in the middle of chaos or confusion, I don't know how you're going to be able to survive even the end times at all, right? So a little bit of faith can go a long way, and then faith, prayer, discernment, and so forth. With that being said, Chris, I welcome you, and now I'm going to pass the mic to you, and please take over. We all are happy to see you. We all are happy to have you back, and now we just want to hear from you right now.
Well, okay, thanks, Jay. I'm going to assume that the one word is faith. And I'm going to break this all down for you tonight. I didn't go to jail. I didn't do anything illegal. I'm not dead. My health is actually okay. I do have some upcoming doctor's appointments, but, you know, it's all green. I'll try and make this as brief as I can. It's going to be it might be a little lengthy, and I'll try to make this a little shorter, but I want everybody to get a good idea of why I've been missing and how I went radio silent so quick.
Chris, today is your welcome back day. You can speak as long as you need to, you know, so you're not under any pressure. Just go for it. And when you are ready for me to go to some questions, just let me know.
Yeah, we will, absolutely. First of all, thanks everybody for being here. Thanks everybody for sticking around. I know it's been quite some time, but I'll try and be as brief as I can in the explanation of what's going on. But hold on to y'all's seats. There's two words that I'm going to share with you. Private banking. Actually, three words. Don't let me get Crazy Joe on you. It's actually three words. International private banking. That's what's going on. What happened there? A couple of weeks before Father's Day, a friend of mine that I've met through this whole process, and we've talked quite a bit. There's a few of you out there are like that with me. Maybe some are even on the call tonight. But what happened was he was trying to do the letter of credit, because that's where we left off at, right? Letters of credit. He was trying to do the letter of credit. This guy had a substantially large bond, so to speak, to make things simpler, that we were going forward with this, kind of testing the waters for what we were into. Well, he was, the best way I can explain it is he was going to he had the contract with the Treasury, and he was going to write a letter of credit from his trust to his foundation. He's got a foundation, a helping hand to the community kind of foundation that he created. And he was wanting to fund it, so he was going to give them a letter of credit. So we worked on the letter of credit together. And before he sent it off, he called. He wanted to find out how to go about making sure that the contract was in there, and just kind of prepping and getting ready to send the letter of credit in. And he got a hold of someone there, and the person that he talked to at the Treasury didn't have any idea what he was talking about. So he slipped up and said, well, I got a friend that did this with a pretty famous rapper, and wrote him a letter of credit. He said, well, I don't know what you're talking about. Maybe if you had the letter of credit, or you had the Social Security number of the guy that wrote the thing, or EIN or whatever, that we might be able to track this down, and then I'll know what it is you're talking about. He said, well, I'll have to talk to the guy. So he called me back, and he said, look, man, this is what they said. He asked me, could I find out what happened with me and Wacko? And I said, well, I'll call him. I called him on a Thursday, I said, hey, man, because I didn't make a copy. I should have made a copy of the letter of credit, but I didn't. I asked him, I said, hey, man, we're trying to move this letter of credit through the Treasury. And because first the guy called, before he called the Treasury, he actually got a hold of the Federal Reserve. They didn't have any idea what he's talking about, so he went to the Treasury. But anyway, I talked with Wacko, and he said, look, homie, I'm going to be in New Orleans and on the weekend. I'll get a copy of it, and I'll send it to you. I'll, screenshot it or whatever, send it to you. I sent you an email. I said, okay, cool. So Saturday came around, I didn't hear from him. Sunday came around, I didn't hear from him. I called him back and said, hey, homie, what's up? And he said, man, he said, I can't give that to you. I said, man, we're partners, He said, well, what if this is all wrong? They're going to come at me and they're going to want the money back. I said, well, I can see your concern. I said, okay, but can you tell me what happened when you went to the Federal Reserve? Tell me everything that you can remember. He said, well, I went into the Federal Reserve, and he hit on the receptionist. He ended up going out on a date with her. But he said, look, man, I got this letter of credit here, man, and this contract from this dude, and I need to come in here and get this money transferred. She said, let me call somebody, and had somebody come down. And he explained what he was trying to do to this guy at the Federal Reserve in Atlanta. And the guy said, well, I don't know anything about this. We usually just transfer money from banks to banks. That's what we do. He said, but I know somebody in the Treasury that we might be able to answer this question. I mean, he's a famous guy. The receptionist recognized him right away. And she told the other guy, who was another brown man, and he said, yeah, I think my mom and dad got into your y'all's music. So let me go up and look. He came back down a little later, and he says, I'm going to keep this letter of credit. I'm going to mail it to the Treasury, and here's a copy. I'm going to send him your paperwork. I'm going to overnight your paperwork. He said, what account number, what routing number and account number would you like this deposited in? So he gave him that information. And he said, homie, in 5 days I had my money in my account. I said, do you remember who they said that they talked to at the Treasury? He said, well, I believe it was Fiscal Services. I said, you mean the Bureau of Fiscal Services? He said, no, homie, the Physical Services, man. So I said, okay. So I told the guy who was doing the letter of credit to get a hold of somebody in Fiscal Services. He ended up getting a hold of the deputy director, actually the deputy director's secretary, and she called him back. She had no idea what he was talking about. And so they wanted to know how he got the information on this. And he said, well, I've been working with these folks that do this. She said, well, I don't know. I don't do this. We usually handle like student loans, things like that. But I may know somebody who can help you out. And then she called him back. She said, I don't know. Nobody seems to know what you're talking about. So he called me and said, hey, man, this is a bust. We're at a bust. I said, who did you talk to at the Bureau of Fiscal Services? And he gave me her name and her phone number. I said, look, I'm going to call, but I'm not going to mention letters of credit. I'm going to ask them where my money's at. So I called them, I think it was on a Thursday, the weekend before Father's Day weekend. And I asked the secretary. I said, "Look, man, I've got 2 contracts with the Treasury. I'm looking at 2 contracts with the Treasury right here, where they agreed that they received $204 million. They were entitled to 35%. Now I know they got theirs. Where's mine?" She said, "Well, I don't know. Let me see what I can do. I may know somebody who can answer your questions. I said, okay. And I thought I was getting the brush off. The very next day, I got a call from her, and she said, look, you're going to get a call from a 202 area code, and either today or Monday. Stay close by your phone and be ready to answer it. So I'm thinking, yeah, okay. Monday morning rolls around, and I get a call from Special Agent Mitchell. That's all I'm going to reveal for now. But he called me and he said, I said, okay, man, tell me about my money. You got yours. I got this contract, how do I get my money? Why haven't you guys sent me my money? He said, you're not going to get your money. I said, what? We got a contract. He said, yeah. He said, but let me explain something to you. In your contract with the Treasury, you said that you would receive the funds from the lien securities in Treasury credits. He said, by doing that, you put the money, your share of the money is in your trust. I said, you mean to tell me I got $132.6 million in my trust? He said, no, that's not what I'm telling you. Matter of fact, you've got over $150 million in your trust from this contract. I said, okay, cool. So why are you telling me I can't have it? He said, because if you're willing to learn this information that I'm willing to teach you, you're going to be a private bank, and that $150 million is going to be your nest egg. It's going to be your backing for your bank. Are you? And then he said, when you die, you can actually take the money that's in there, because the interest is going to grow on this too. You can take that money, and that'll go into your estate, and then you can will that to your children, your spouse, your children. I said, okay, you got me. I'm interested. He said, I'm coming to East Tennessee. I'll be there Friday night, and I'll send you a text of where where I'm going to be. It was at Wyndham Estates in Sevierville. Yeah, they were really nice too. So he said, I'm going to be there Friday night. I want you there at 8 o'clock in the morning. Can you do that? Bring a notebook and get ready to take lots of notes, copious notes. I said, okay. And he asked me, he said, but look, you need to stop with the social media. I said, what are you talking about? He said, you know what I'm talking about. The YouTube videos and all of these conference calls you're on and your Telegram, and he pretty much laid it all out. You need to stop. He said, that's twofold. He said, one is you're going to be very busy. If you're going to get into this, you're going to learn this and do this, you're going to be extremely busy. You're not going to have time for text messages and emails and conference calls, and you're going to be busy. I said, okay, I'll accept your challenge. He said, and second of all, they can't keep up with you. I said, what do you mean they? He said, the Alphabet Gang. I said, okay, so what you're trying to tell me is, the government, these agencies of the government have been keeping an eye on me, which I figured anyway. He said, yeah. He said, but you're doing something new every week. He said, they can't keep up with you. He said, you've got such a large following, and they can't keep up with you. They've asked us to ask you to stop if you're going to do this. I said, okay, I'll do it. I said, can I bring a friend to this meeting? I got a friend that's got a 5th grade education, doesn't even know how to read and write, but he knows how to shoot, and he'll kill you over me. I've known this guy for 35 years, and we've been into some shenanigans together. And I would probably shoot one of my own brothers over this guy. He'd do the same thing for me. So he said, yeah, bring him. So we went to this, actually, the very next day, Tuesday morning, I woke up to nothing. and I mean nothing. My contact list on my phone, they got past my Norton 360 VPN, got in, and they erased every contact I had in my phone, including my mother. If it hadn't have been for 4 people's numbers that I wrote down on a 3x5 card, I probably still wouldn't be able to get in touch with anybody. Well, maybe. They've kind of slacked up. But I had no signal. I had to reinstall Signal when I was clear to do it. I wasn't able to respond to comments on the YouTube channel. I could see the banners of my emails coming up, and I could actually go to my email, but I couldn't open up my emails. I just recently got to where I can open up my emails about a month ago. And I called him back and I said, "What are you doing?" I cussed quite a bit. Why are you doing this, man? I told you that I would do this. You didn't have to screw everything I had up. I said, you didn't even give me a chance to show you that I could stick to my word, and you've lost yours. Oh, wait a minute. That wasn't us. That wasn't us. I said, how am I supposed to trust you? He said, let me look into some things and I'll call you right back. And he called me right back. This is the Alphabet Gang. I said, well, I want my shit back. Well, just work with me. Hear me out. Give me this weekend. I said, okay. I said, I will, but look it, man. It's hard for me to trust you now. Just talk to me. He said, forget about everything that's gone on. Just forget about it, and come talk to me. So I talked to him, and I was with him from 8 o'clock in the morning. It was the Saturday before Father's Day. I was with him at 8 o'clock in the morning till 9:30 that night. And, they ordered pizza. I ate some pizza on the government. And we were sitting there, and I ended up coming back the next day, Father's Day, y'all. And I was with him until 3 o'clock that afternoon. I went over and met my family at Dollywood, and my wife was highly pissed off. My wife isn't too happy. She's still not happy, folks. I'm not going to get into that. It's personal, but anyway. So I go meet this dude, and he talks to me. He said, now, if you're willing, I got a half notebook page full of notes. He said, if you're willing to work with me, I'm going to open up a whole world to you. He said, I only do this for accountants. His job was helping accountants with new banks forming and their connection with the Treasury. That was his job. He said, if this works well, then I'm going to get a promotion. He said, you're the first person I ever worked with who wasn't a certified accountant, an educated certified accountant. He said, I'm going to send you a 1,000-page manual. This is a confidential manual. Do not share it with anyone. He's like, don't even let your wife look at it. I said, okay, cool. Send it on to me. He said, what you're going to do is you're going to study this manual. You're going to learn it like the back of your hand. It took me 11 weeks to go through a 1,000-page manual. This stuff is like rocket science. My brain hurts. I got 17 and a half. I was averaging 17 and a half hours of screen time going through this manual and researching the stuff that was in the manual and highlighting stuff and going back and rereading stuff. But after about the first 300 or 400 pages, I started to notice 3 sentences that were coming up regularly. And I got this program, actually it's an app, that you can, professors use them to check for plagiarism when you write papers in college. Yeah, I had to pay for it. But I do it. I still got it. I still keep the subscription going. So I put these 3 sentences in. And if any guys got pens and papers, write this down. It's called the Treasury Financial Manual. Okay? The TFM. Tango, Foxtrot, Mike. Okay? If you Google the TFM, you're going to find the Treasury Financial Manual. And in that manual, at volumes 3 and 4, okay, you don't have to read 1 and 2 unless you just want to. If you're really into like reading boring material, go ahead and read it. But mostly what you're going to find this information is in the Treasury Financial Manual at volume 3 and at volume 4. That's preschool, y'all. That's preschool. What I've studied is like college, master's degree kind of stuff. I did this for 11 weeks, and then I had a conference call with 8 Treasury employees, and they grilled me for almost 4 hours on the material that was in this manual. And just about every question they asked, they said, how would you explain this to a 10th grader? How would you explain this to somebody who's with a GED? That kind of thing. And then I'd have to sit and think about it. First, it caught me off guard. I tried to cut up, and be a little funny. And Mitch sent me a text, quit clowning. These people are serious. Your humor is not doing nothing. Yeah, I figured I was just trying to break the ice. That's too, you couldn't break that ice with a blowtorch. So I stopped and I started answering the questions, and I'd have to think about it. How would I explain this to, my 15-year-old daughter, who sucks at math? My 12-year-old son would probably get some of it, but it's complicated. And after it was all over, everybody dropped out except me and Mitch. And I asked Mitch, I said, hey, how did I do? He said, I think you did all right, but these people you can't read. He said, I'll have to wait till we conference. I'll get back with you. He called me back 2 days later, and he said, okay, we're going into phase 2. Phase 2 is the paperwork. It's the application process for starting your bank. It's crazy. It's crazy, you all. The 26 pages. A week ago Friday, I sent all mine in. Okay? I'm waiting to find out if the papers are all correct and all the I's are dotted, all the T's are crossed, and everything's right. And then after I get that notification, I will be waiting for my private bank. Okay? This is where this is going. If you guys have got a conditional acceptance and a contract with the Treasury, if you've got a contract with the Treasury because of your $100 million bonds, if you've got a contract anywhere with the Treasury, they're all sitting in a room in the Treasury. A new department in the Treasury is being formed to handle all this. What's going to happen is I'm going to create my private bank, and then I'm going to bring a few folks in and help them get theirs. These are people that have had contracts in there since last winter. People that were up on this first. All this stuff is in file boxes, and it's sitting in the corner of a fairly large office, from what I understand. And they're all dated for when they came in. The Treasury is going to pull those contracts, and then they're going to work with a foundation that I'm going to create. I'm going to create a 508, a foundation, and there's going to be a council of 9. I will be one. There will be 8 other councilmen. We're all going to have equal vote. We're all going to submit 3 people that can replace us if something happens. We die, we retire, we quit. And then there's going to be an inner circle of about 30 people. And each one of the 30 people is going to have 10 people. And that outer circle is going to train all y'all that have these contracts how to bank. Because it isn't just giving loans, and it isn't just the things that you would think of. One thing that I'm going to do is take care of the 1099As. What's going to happen, and the reason I don't get my money is, and how it's going to back the bank, is you're going to come to me. Say you come to me, Jay comes to me, hey, I need a loan to, start to buy my house and buy some servers and stuff because Legalibus is about to blow up. So I need to borrow $2 million. I'm going to send him a contract. I'll overnight him a contract. He'll sign it and have it notarized and send it back to me. When he sends it back to me, I will be authorized to sign his beneficiary signature on a 1099A. I'm going to have an electronic link with the Treasury. I'm going to have a Treasury account. It's not what you guys may be thinking. It's not a Treasury Direct account. Through that account, I'll be able to scan the 1099A and send it to the Treasury, and then I'll send it in the mail. I'll send it certified mail to the Treasury. Once they don't need the hard copy, if they've got the electronic copy, that's just going to be for their records. They're going to wire me back the money, and then I'm going to give it to Jay. But when I write this 1099A up and sign Jay's beneficiary signature on the back of it, which I can, the contract's going to give me power of attorney to do that. I'm going to put a 10% onto that. I'm going to put, for his $2 million, I'm going to send in a 1099A for $2,200,000. I'm getting the $200,000 because the money, the $2,200,000 is coming to my account. I'm going to send Jay the $2 million. I'm going to keep the $2 million. That's how this private bank is going to work. But that's not it. That's not the only thing you're going to be able to do. You're going to be able to create bonds. You're going to be able to fractionally bank. That $200,000 that I get from Jay, I can now fractionally bank with it. That $200 just now became $2 million in fractional banking. I can send that $200,000 back to the Federal Reserve. I can send 90% of it back to the Federal Reserve. The next time I'll send 80%. The next time I'll send 70%. It's part of fractional banking. If you ever want to get interested in seeing what that's about, that's something you can do. I can finance businesses. I can do investment banking. There's all kinds of stuff that you're going to be able to do. And I asked Mitch, I said, well, what about the junkies? What do you mean, what about the junkies? What if a junkie has a contract? How are you going to, how are you going to deal with them? How are you going to get a junkie to be a banker? How are you going to give up that 30%, that 35% from the conditional acceptance contract or the $100 million contract that the junkie gave you? He said, that's simple. We're going to take their 1099A. We're going to pay for them to go to Betty Ford Clinic. Nice drug rehab, which gave me some other ideas. So what they're going to do is they're going to give junkie a chance to get straight. You're going to use your trust to pay for your own rehab, which they do anyway. Okay? They do. This is how they work. We're going to use that. We're going to use their money to get them straight. And that might be enough of an incentive for them to get straight. He said if they don't get straight and their bank collapses, we'll go in and take it over. We'll go in and take over their bank. I said, okay, cool. Because that's what I wondered, What they want me to do, folks, is they want me to dumb down this process considerably. They want me to teach it to the people that they hand me the contracts. The foundation will have a liaison's office. One of the council members will be the head of the liaison's office. They'll be in communication with the Treasury. Okay, what do you got? Send us 20 more of what you got. We need 20 more. They're going to send 20 more people. Trust. Then our outer circle folks will get in contact with you, and they're going to say, you want a bank? If you do, then we're going to teach you. I'm going to get this process down to where one of our members can teach a new banker in 3 weeks and help them get the paperwork done in 1 week. Now, how that's going to be funded is if you get asked to go through the banking process to be a private bank, you're going to give us a 1099-A for $50,000. The guy that's going to teach you is going to get 40% of that. His boss is going to get 30% of that, and the foundation is going to get the other 30%. The foundation is going to use their money to buy the company cars and pay for the workers. I shouldn't say workers because they're going to be members. Pay for their cars, their gas, their food, their hotels. That's where that's going. And at the end of the year, we're going to profit share everything. We're going to profit share everything equally with all the members in it. Now, a lot of these members are going to be private banks too. So these people here are going to be doing this not to get rich, but to help y'all because they're already going to be rich. This is the members of this foundation is probably going to make it one of the most wealthiest foundations in the country. Now you say, why would they want to do that? Why would the Treasury want to do that? I can loan you $2 million, Jay, and you take, and this is your money, and you take that money and you go out and use it, spend it on things. You got your missionary thing you want to do. That stuff's going to cost money. All y'all out here with these fantastic public service type things, feed the hungry and get the homeless off the streets and stuff. That's cost money, right? The only reason they're working with me is because they know that it's going to be profitable. For one, they're going to get 35% of your money. For two, they're going to keep your money in your trust and use it like they already do, right? And you're going to go out there and you're going to generate revenue. I've had some people say, that's a sellout. That's a sellout. Okay. Don't come to bank. This is what this is going to do is this is actually going to drive down our shitty economy that we got going on right now. The inflation should drop. They know this. They know this. This is going to create so much revenue in this country for the government that we could come close to paying down the national debt in 20 years. So that's the only reason. I'm not shot. I'm not in jail, y'all. Although my wife would like to freaking shoot me sometimes. Yeah, they're tripping. They're tripping hard. But that's where this is at. I've done last weekend before last was the first time I've had 2 days in a row with nothing to do. Last Monday, a week from last Monday, I was completely bored because I'm used to doing this 16, 17 hours a day. I'm not going to be in this foundation that long, folks. Maybe 5 years. And then I'm leaving. I got things to do with what little bit of time I'll have left. Let you young folks take this over and do this. This is where this is at. Now, here's how the loan's going to work, okay? Jay, come at me. and I need $2 million. In that loan's going to say that his payments are annually. And then a year after, when his first payment's due, Jay's going to come to me and go, Chris, I can't make this payment. And then I'm going to turn around and do a 1099-C. Because when I do the 1099-A, I'm not checking box 5. They already know it's not going to get paid back. The only reason I'm doing a 1099-C is to cover my nest egg. If I don't do a 1099-C, they'll take the $2,200,000 out of mine and put it into Jay's. Okay? That's how this is going to work. So it's not going to be like the loans that y'all are used to. Because remember, Public Law 73-10 says all debts, public and private, are paid for. We're going to stay true to Public Law 73-10. Days of doing this are done. The old ways are about to end. Not that you couldn't. If you wanted to go ahead and check box 5 and do a regular loan like a bank would do and sit back and get interest off of it, you'll be able to do that very same thing. Because a lot of people out there, I can't do that. Just give me the loan. Just give me the loan, at a really decent interest rate. You'll make a little money, and I'm good. I'll pay you back. Because people like to pay back their trust, apparently. So, with that being said, that's where I've been. That's where I'm at. That's what I'm waiting on. Now, there has been quite a bit of success with the remittance process. I spoke with a gentleman last night who had $47,000 in medical bills wiped out. And then he did the same thing for his brother on $83,000. Had it wiped out. I've gotten quite a few success stories from people, and some people are going, well, where's I filed the 1099, I did the thing with the Jarretts, where is it? What's taking so long? Well, they're still working on April 15th's returns. And then we do this. If you haven't got a letter from the IRS saying what you did was a frivolous filing, sit tight. Some of them 1099-As could be sitting in the Treasury right now, waiting for the financial, this foundation to take care of that. Because a lot of people are having trouble being trustees and going through this process, and that's partially my fault. Actually, a lot of it's my fault. Because not saying that it isn't going to work if you're a trustee. I know that it has. I know a young rapper right now that's walking around with diamonds in his teeth, fanning out $100 bills, putting new videos out. Because he did this. Him and his buddy did that. You guys might have remembered a video where I was talking about two young guys, gang. I refer to them as gang. Yeah, they did this with using it as an insurance deal for $80,000. They split the $80,000. He used $40,000 to go into the studio and produce some rap videos. He sent one to me and he said, hey man, can you pass this along to Wacko and see what he thinks? Well, the rest is history. This kid hadn't worked in 2 years, is now fanning out $100 bills. So it does work. Maybe not as successfully as we would like, and that's partially due, or mostly due, to the fact that when you read the instructions for the 1099A, 1099C, it says who must file. That's why we're making ourselves financial institutions, so we can file the 1099As. And that could be what's happening to the ones why you haven't heard from them. Or it could be because they haven't got to them yet because they're still working on taxes. I don't know. But I do know that they hired 80,000 new employees. So that's with that. Now, one more thing I wanted to talk about was the W-4 process. A lot of you all, I'm pretty sure, have been watching the videos and checking out the things, and I've watched a few of them myself. One thing I've noticed is, like the remittance process, there's all these people out here with videos writing all this UCC and everything like that on the coupon. You don't need to do that. All you need to do is endorse the back. But people have watched the videos, my videos, and, well, I can put this stuff with the UCC and all this other stuff on the front of this thing and call it mine. Okay, go for it. I can't stop people from doing that. But you don't need to. You don't need to do all that. And I've seen different videos where people are actually saying, don't listen to so-and-so. They don't know how to do it right. I know how to do it right. And then they're telling you how to do it. Some of the people that are doing that are getting frivolous filing. They're getting frivolous filing. And I questioned my treasury agent about the W-4. I said, look, I don't know a whole lot about it. I do know that that seems to be the thing that's going around these days. Are you holding them? He said, I've heard a little bit about them, don't know much about it. But I'm not your research boy. I said, well, you know, if you guys are going to work this stuff, then find out what you can about it and share it with me so that I can get people straight on this, or help to get people straight. And he said, let me see what I can do, but stop asking me to look up people's contracts for you, because I'd asked him to look a few contracts up, and he did. One guy asked me if I could have him look up 3 contracts, his and a couple other people, and I said, I'll ask him. And he came back and told me, these 2 guys have one, this guy doesn't. And then I got back with the guy that asked me, and I said, you and this other guy's got one, but the other dude don't. He said, yeah, I know he don't, because he hadn't sent it in. So I was getting tested, I guess. Anyway, but I'm cool with that. I'm cool with that. I tell you all, go do your own research, prove it to yourself. But here's the thing. He got back with me about the W-4. He said, tell them to stop whiting out the perjury. People are whiting out the perjury on the 1040. You can't alter the 1040. Yes, it is a tax filing. It is an income tax return. That's what a 1040 is. Okay? But what you're doing with that is you're asking them, like, say it's a criminal case, and you're trying to go after the GSA bonds. What you're doing is you're asking the IRS, you're telling the IRS, look, I want to file this tax return on these bonds from this criminal court case. But I don't know how much money I made, because they're your bonds. Those are your bonds. They're in your name. I don't know how much money I made. I sure would like to pay my taxes. What that does is that generates the IRS into doing an audit of the circuit court, sessions court, whoever's created the bonds. By doing that, they're going to go back and they're going to ask the court, they're going to ask the court to come clean with the bonds. the court's not going to do it, because once they do, they have to pay the taxes. So what they're going to try and do is settle the account. They can't settle the account because they can't pay me for those bonds. So what they're going to do is they're going to abandon those bonds. And the IRS is going to turn around and use a 1099-A for abandonment of secured property. All right? And they're going to get those bonds. And then they're going to take their money. Then they're going to give you a return. Do not white out the penalty of perjury. What you're doing is you're altering that document. You're actually forging without a signature. You're actually altering the document. Don't do that. You don't have to do that. I said, what do you mean you don't have to? He said, look, you're telling these people to sign things with a beneficiary signature. So sign it without prejudice in a beneficiary signature. If you sign without prejudice, the penalty of perjury doesn't matter. Doesn't matter if it's there. And because you're signing as a beneficiary, all taxpayers are assessed to K trust. Then you're not the taxpayer. It's all the trust action. The beneficiary receives the refund. Okay? That's what's happening. Say you had a car loan that you defaulted on, and they repossessed the car, and you got the loan for Bank of America. Well, you do the W-4 on that, and they're going to audit, the bank. But before they do that, they're going to send them a letter. They're going to say, look, this account number, we're going to audit this account number, get all your documentation together, right? As soon as they notice to that, they're going to go back and they're going to look at the account. They're going to say, oh, we took this person, but we can't return their car because it's already been sold to somebody else. So what they're going to do is they're going to settle with you. They're going to send you a check for what they owe you, the balance on the note that was your money they borrowed. They're going to send that to you to balance their books, so when the IRS comes in to look at it, they're straight. Oh, see, we're zero. Right? That's how that works. So sign it without prejudice and do it with a beneficiary signature, and then you're not the taxpayer. That's where your argument's at. I'm not the taxpayer. You accepted the 1040. You accepted the signature, trustee. Go ahead and get the money from the taxes, get the tax money that's owed from the trust, and send me my money. That's what they'll do. Okay? So don't white it out. Another thing that people were doing is they were not signing this. They weren't signing the 1040. I believe that was a teaching that Lone Wolf, I think, was doing. Wolfman or whatever he went by. He was doing that. Oh, don't sign it. Look, if you don't sign it, they're going to return it. Whenever you ever filed a tax, anything in the taxes and not signed it, you got to sign it. Sign it with a beneficiary signature. Do that, y'all, and you're probably going to see that you have a lot more luck. What I'm hearing mostly through the grapevine is this works real well for criminal cases. It gets the cases dropped. Somebody asked me, would I start teaching the W-4? I don't have time for that. If one of the folks out here that's teaching it want to start teaching it right, send me a link to their video. I'll help you any way I can, but I don't have the time. I'm not going to teach the banking thing on YouTube. I'm not going to do videos. There's too many confused people watching those videos. I'm not going to do it on on the Telegram because it's a dumpster fire. People are confused in there, and I don't have the time to take care of it either. I know some folks that are working admin in there are doing their best. They're busting their ass trying to keep the scammers out. Another thing in the YouTube channel, there's a WhatsApp guy that puts his phone number up there. Do not contact that dude at all. He's a scammer. A few people already have. Remember what I said, folks. If somebody's asking you for money, they're a scammer. They're a scammer. Stay shy of those kind of folks. I'm giving this stuff for free. I've never got a penny from it. I did monetize the YouTube channel, although I haven't made any videos since June. I monetized that basically to show my wife that that this thing that I'm doing has value. If you're not going to look at it and watch the videos and learn what it is that I'm doing, and read the comments, you know, of the people that are having success, and some folks have got their children back from CPS. Well, what's it doing for us? Well, I'm about to show you. So I'm probably not going to do any videos on the banking. I'm going to keep that real close. Because I don't want any mistakes. I do not want anybody I teach this to have any mistakes. Once you're in the bank, got your bank up, you're going to be one of the council members is going to be in charge of answering questions. You have a question about the bank. You're not just going to learn how a bank works. You're going to learn how to work a bank. You're going to learn the ins and outs of, of the financial thing. That's why I'm saying start out with the Treasury Financial Manual. Get your feet wet. Get your feet wet with that a little bit, so you have a little bit of an idea about what you're about to get into. Yeah, we're all about to be crazy millionaires. Leave something behind for your children. Actually, leave a lot behind for your children. We're going to be able to do things that I didn't think that you could do because it wasn't a needful thing for the beneficiary. You guys are going to be able to do this. There's not going to be a whole lot of them out there at the beginning. But if you're in here now and you don't have a bank up in 6 months from now, you're going to know somebody that's in this group that does. They'll start taking your 1099As till you can get straight. That's how this is going to roll. That's how this turd's going to roll downhill, y'all. That's what this is about. This is about making some money and taking care of the people we love and the people that need our love and our help. That's what this is about. That's what money's about, man. I'm not going to be greedy. I've never been greedy. I've had handfuls of cash. Years ago, I had a friend that he worked for the customs out of Chicago O'Hare. I would meet him in a cab, and he would bring 2 suitcases out to me every week. And I took these 2 suitcases downtown Chicago. If any of y'all have ever seen a Cubs game, and you look across the outfield and you see apartments with people partying on the roofs and stuff, I used to take it to one of those houses. Some Italian brothers. Yeah, I did that for about 2.5 years. So I've had some money go through my hands. Might have not have seen it, and it might have not have been cash, but I've had a lot of money, and I've got some. I got a pretty good bit of it. We're going to have it. We're going to have it, or somebody you're going to know is going to have it. And I'm not going to ask you, I'm not even going to do, when you come to me and want a loan, I'm not even going to do a credit check. Because I know you have millions. Your credit's good with me. So that's pretty much it in a nutshell. I will keep y'all advised on the process as soon as I'm up. I'm already looking at an old bank that was closed downtown just because I want a place to get away. I'll probably work it out of that. I'm going to have to hire some people. I might even hire a manager to manage my bank so I have more time to help with the foundation. But that's where I've been, folks. That's what I've been doing. I pretty much missed the whole summer sitting in this building down here. But it is what it is. I didn't make much of an impact in my life when I was younger. I'm hoping that I do it now. I don't have a whole lot of time left. I'm sliding down the other side of the top of the hill. I'd seen the top of the hill a long time ago. So with what little time I got left, that's what I'm here to do. So, Jay, if you got some questions or something, we'll open up some questions. I got to get up early in the morning to go get my godson. He's I call him Snowball because he's got the whitest hair I've ever seen on a baby. And he's white. I'm telling you what, man. That kid is the whitest kid I've ever seen in my life. His name is Arsenix. Just the sweetest little baby ever was, man. And we keep him on Wednesdays while his mom and dad goes to work.
Right.
They got his name from some band. I don't know if that was the name of the band or one of the members of the band. But yeah, they really must like their music.
Right.
So I got to pick him up early in the morning, and then I got a couple appointments I got to go to. So.
Okay. Well, thank you, Chris, for this wonderful intro. It was very generous of yours to actually go through the whole thing in details. So I just want you guys to know this is being recorded, and the recording will be published on the Legalibus website for you guys to review, because Chris gets information, and quite honestly, this needs to be listened to a couple of times. Not all questions will be answered tonight, so I think, I'm probably going to just run a couple of questions by Chris. We'll see if based on the time, but we might have to come back with even more questions after you guys have reviewed the recording for next week. So with that being said, Chris, again, I thank you for all that you're doing. You are showing everybody, especially those naysayers, those confused, that you are who you say you are. You do what you say you do, because so many people are fake that you can't trust everybody anymore, right? So I think it's important that people see who you are and that you hold your word. You said you would come back. You have come back, and you have given us a good outline. Thank you, Chris, for being like that, because we need more people like you. On the other hand, I want to warn everybody else here. There is some group, some other scammer who goes by Christopher Hauser. He has taken the name of Chris. He has created his channel using the same name as the Christopher Hauser Study Group, and he has been trying to get people to pay some money up front, a few $1,000s, to get an SBA loan, and he claims that afterwards he's going to discharge it with 99A. I just want to warn everybody on the line, that person is not the Chris that's here tonight. Chris doesn't talk about take money from anybody. Chris doesn't talk about SBA loans, and Chris hasn't even started his banking process yet. I mean, in terms of operations for everybody else. So be warned, guys. Don't go out and become a prey again, because we're hearing these stories all over, on and on. With that being said, Chris, but perhaps I want to ask a couple of questions that I believe would benefit everybody, right? So many people have been waiting on this 1099 process and waiting on the Treasury. I'm glad that you actually touched upon some of those things that were, would have been questions. So at this point, right, if someone has not yet submitted a 1099A package to the Treasury and whatnot, what would you recommend at this point? Like, I want to get your thought on. Okay, we know the Treasury is delayed. We're wondering if and when it's gonna come through. So what would you say to someone today who wants to take advantage of that but is not sure if it's going to work out? And the follow-up question would be, we know these type of processes gets challenged also by the system who does not want to free the people, and sometimes we have to adapt and change. I mean, do you foresee any kind of adaptation, change, improvement to the process at all? So why don't you speak to us about that?
Yeah, absolutely. There's going to be some changes in that process. They didn't know what to do with this. When I was approached with this, they didn't know what it did. So they actually sat back and thought, well, let's get a hold of this guy. Let's actually use this to our advantage to get a hold of this guy, and we'll work it that way. Because see, they can't really access the percentage of what you owe, or what they would get from you. They can't access that till you get paid. In my case, they put it into the trust, and then they could access it. But some of y'all have got contracts out there where you specifically say that you don't want it into the trust. I know a few people that say, I don't want it in the trust. They're going to have to deal with that. That may take a little bit more time to get back, but they also know if they give that back to you, they get theirs. Right? They have to pay the contract. They have to pay you to get theirs. Now, they're going to have to figure out a way of getting around that. Well, maybe we can bring these people into the bank too.
Right.
The first question was
1099A process as of today.
Yeah, as of today. That's other than the time, the lengthy time that it's taking them to work on that. that's gonna take time because you guys aren't set up to be really. You're set up to as a trustee. You've already You've already got the trusteeship of this trust action that you created. But technically, you're not a financial institution. You're not a court. You're not a military thing or a post office or you know what I mean? The things that it says who must file. If you're not one of them, then you're not a must. You're a maybe, right? And I think they're confused about how to work those. Some of them, or a lot of them, probably anyway.
I'm glad. Go ahead.
Yeah, go ahead, Jay. No, go ahead.
Well, I'm glad you said that, Chris, because some people have come on and started saying, "Oh, Chris didn't show the whole thing. Chris, is misleading people. That what he's doing is wrong." And the way I look at it is, what Chris did has worked. Now, if there are changes down the line, that can be conceivable. If there are improvement, that can be conceivable. But I think people have to learn to have the right perspective. So I'm glad that you're clarifying that, we're going to be talking about some changes to the process to optimize that. It's really important.
Yeah, Jay. Like what you're saying, basically, for instance, when you were doing the remittance process, and they were saying instead of sending it to the CEO, it says right here in this notice that they sent you that you send all one-time final payments to this office here.
Right.
And then you send it there, and it's done. It's a done deal.
Right.
Yeah, I've never claimed that this is a foolproof process. And,
that's right.
but it's most of it. And like with the habeas corpus, for instance, when we started writing those, I wrote them all screwed up. And every time I would have someone do it and send it back, they would get a notice of what went wrong. And they would either tell us how to fix it, or we would say, okay, this is wrong. What do we got to do to make it right? And that gets improved on. Believe me when I say I have seen some phenomenal conditional acceptances. Some that just a week ago, that was a conditional acceptance I've ever seen in my life. Wrote this, spent some time on it. And it was over the vax. It was over the crazy vax thing. The Supreme Court just ruled here just recently that because the vaccine didn't keep you from getting COVID, they got to start back paying everybody they fired because of that. I don't know if you've all heard this, but
yes.
if you were fired from a job because you failed to take the vaccine, the Supreme Court has ordered that all those people that have been fired are getting back pay. I told my wife that when they started putting them out of the military for not. I said, you watch, in the future, they're going to have to pay every one of these guys that they've kicked out, put them back in with the same rank that they got, like they never left, if they want. They're going to have to pay that. And she read the article to me tonight, and I said, didn't I tell you? And that may have something to do with all the vaccine conditional acceptances.
Mm-hmm.
A couple dozen of them that's hit Joe Biden's desk. So we're causing a stir, y'all.
Right.
It's not a perfect process, but it will be if we keep at this. I was talking to somebody here not too long ago, and I said, look, I am a firm believer into talk it into existence. If something might not be the perfect way to do it, and you keep talking about it, you will make it the perfect way to do it. The Scripture tells us that we can actually speak things into existence. The Messiah said, "Say to the mountain, move, and it'll move." So the Scripture tells you that we can move mountains with the Word. We're speaking that into existence. The movement of that mountain will be spoken into existence. And that's what we're doing here, folks. We're moving mountains. And we're doing it with the Word.
Right.
I don't know, everybody that's listening, what your thoughts are on the Heavenly Father, or if you're down with Allah, the Muhammad, blessed be his name. That's what the Scripture says. And that's what we're doing. So as far as 1099As go, keep plugging at it. Keep doing it. If you're a trustee for someone, and like I started to say earlier, if you're a trustee for someone and you get a letter that says it's frivolous filing, they're not hitting you with a frivolous filing fine. They're telling you that you can correct this, and it won't be a frivolous filing anymore. So there's a couple things you can do. You can correct it. Call them up. Hey, IRS, how do I correct this? I made a mistake. How do I correct it? They will tell you how. Or you can say, the reason one person got it and they read it to me, they said they got a frivolous filing, and it's because they said it was it's a reporting document, and that they were actually reporting income. No, that's a 1099. What it is they're not looking at the document. did you notice the back? You could call them and say, did you notice the back of the, who's filing this? Who would be filing the 1040A or 1099A? The trustee is, right?
Right.
So it's not the person who filed the 1099A. They're not filing anything. It's the trustee that's filing it. And the fact that you're on there as the borrower and your Social Security number is on there, when you hand that 1099A, say to me, for instance, and I accepted it, I accepted the trust action. I accept I am a trustee. So I can file this. I'm filing this for the beneficiary. Now think about this, guys. A lot of people are out here doing this. Oh, well, you got to put yourself in as the lender, and you're the beneficiary as the lender, and the so-called creditor as the borrower. Say you're using a 1099A to pay off your car, and if you do like they say, put yourself in there as the lender, and the dealership as the borrower, then the dealership or the finance company that loaned you your car is borrowing the money from you. Why would they be borrowing the money from you to pay off a debt that you own or they're claiming you owe? Right? And if you put yourself in as the lender, and then you put your EIN or your TIN number down there in lender's TIN number, you're acting as a beneficiary, making a decision for the trust. That would be like you going in and getting your own money out of your bank account. It's not a bank account, it's a trust fund. No wonder you're getting a freaking a letter from the IRS saying it's a frivolous filing.
Well, that takes me to my next question, again, that I believe would benefit many on the line, especially those who have been submitting those paperwork as trustees. What I've seen some receiving letters. For example, there's one case where a letter came from the IRS telling them, that they haven't seen their corporation filing or something like that. But probably pertaining to the 1040V that they received. What are your thoughts? Say someone or an organization, act as a trustee, and then they receive a letter from the IRS telling them something like that. What are your thoughts on the best course of action to take?
So they got a letter from the IRS addressing the 1040V?
Well, I'm assuming it was related to that, but I believe the letter was saying something along the lines of, I'm trying to see where I had that, along the lines that we have received your communication dated X date, but we have not, received any, we haven't located any payment for your taxes. And the amount that they were referring to, nor are we able to locate your corporation filing,
What that tells you right there, Jay, they say we can't find your taxes.
Right.
These aren't taxes, man. We're not using these as taxes. So what I'm saying is, if you got a frivolous filing thing, you can call and say, how do I correct this mistake? Or you can say, why'd you send me a letter saying you can't find my taxes? This isn't a tax filing.
Okay.
This is a trust action.
Okay.
Did you notice the back of the 1099A? Do you have that handy? Can you look at that? Tell me, what does that say? Look at the front. Look at the front of the 1099A. Do you see the name there as the borrower? Could you tell me what's at the end of their name? Well, it says beneficiary. Right? If it says beneficiary, then it's a trust action. If the Social Security number is used, it's a trust action. Now, tell me exactly where it is that the beneficiary is also the taxpayer, when every taxpayer is a trust. This is how you talk to these people at the IRS.
Yeah.
when you end up with situations like that.
Right.
Another
So,
thing that I thought of, just talking about this situation right here, and some of you may have already ran into this. The beneficiary bank account. I talked with a feller on Sunday night, and his wife had opened up a beneficiary account and had it open for, I don't know, maybe a couple of dozen transactions with a beneficiary signature. They sent her a letter in the mail saying, we're going to close your account. Or we're closing your account, we're sending you a check for the balance. Well, they misunderstood a conversation that one of them may have listened to back in the spring, where an individual had signed a automobile contract, a new automobile contract for beneficiary signature, and ended up keeping the Cadillac for, I don't know, man, 9 months, I guess. And now she's rolling over him with their case, the case that the civil matter or the car dealership brought up. She's rolling over him. But and the EFT. If any of you all heard of the EFT process, that's electronic funds transfer. And what happens when a bank account closes, it's not really closed. And you can actually still transact out of that closed account, or that allegedly closed account. You can do it with 1099As. And this lady that had the same thing with the car actually did this. Paid 13 bills off, car insurance and house payment, car payment. The bank tried to say they didn't do it. She called the IRS, and the IRS said, yeah, the funds have been transferred. And then she called the people that the funds were transferred to, and, oh, yeah, we got it. Now, how are you telling me that this bank account's closed when you're moving these EFTs from it? Okay? So the guy was confused. He kind of mashed both of those incidents together and was thinking that once the account is closed, I can start writing checks on it. It doesn't really work like that. So I told him, he said, well, what should I do? I said, here's what I would do. When the check comes, and he said it was like for $2,200. When the check comes, put it in a fireproof safe. It's gonna expire after 6 months or however long checks expire. It's gonna expire. But as long as you're not signing that check, you're not agreeing with them closing your account. When you open a beneficiary account, the only person that can close the account is the beneficiary. That's why they send you the check. We're going to have to close your account. We're going to send you a check for the balance. The minute you sign that check, you close the account. Because they can't do it. I said, put that check up. And then here's what I want you to do. Go and write some checks at Walmart. Let them scan them through their electronic thing, because that's wire fraud. Scan them through there, and then pay your light bill with the check. Let it go through proper. Use the account to with your credit card to pay a credit card bill off if you got any. Go ahead and do these transactions for a couple of weeks, because there's $2,200 in the account. Go ahead and write those checks on that and let them process the checks. Then what you can do in a couple of weeks after you see that they've cleared, go in there and make a deposit. I'd like to put $500 in my account. Well, we can't do that. Your account's closed. How come you've been transacting on it and accepting these checks with a beneficiary signature? If you're saying you're closing the account because signing beneficiary is a modification of the contract, why are you transacting on an account you're claiming is closed? Okay? Why are you doing that with the checks from Walmart? That's wire fraud. If it's closed like you said, and you transferred the money from this beneficiary account, you committed wire fraud. And what I said, what you'll be doing, make them take that money and play with the bank like you got a regular account. Once you squeeze them and they say, okay, the account's really not closed, well, then put this money in this account like I told you, trustee, and then start acting as you have a beneficiary account. He said, well, where's the benefit in that if I can't write free checks on it like crazy? I said, here's where it's at. You're not going to pay any fees. None. Your bank is not going to charge you a fee for using some other bank's ATM like they do. Right? I said, then after you've done this for about 6 months to a year, then they've totally agreed that you're the beneficiary and that account is a beneficiary account. Now go into the bank president with a 1099-A in your hand, say there's a $2 million house down on 12th Street. I talked to the owner and I want to buy it. There's $2 million. But here's the 1099-A, because who must file the 1099-A? Financial institutions. It says FDIC out here on your door. Here's the 1099-A. You'll notice the back of it's endorsed, trustee. Oh, and the house is for $2 million. But I tacked on 5% for the bank. The bank's going to take the 1099-A, get the money from your trust, keep 5% of that money, and then give you the $2 million. They're going to have to. They're going to have to accept your 1099-As. And they're going to want to when they see that they start getting 5%, 10% straight off the rip. He said, man, I never thought about it like that. I said, that's how this will work. Squeeze them. So if you guys got a beneficiary account, and that happens to go down that way with you, go ahead and play them like that. Remember, you're the beneficiary. They're supposed to do what benefits you. Didn't really mean to get off on that tangent, Jay, but that's some
Chris.
information up there. That's some information right there that I would give to anybody, because I know a lot of y'all are getting beneficiary accounts. I see the comments come up in my on my screen on my phone. I just opened up a beneficiary account. Some people aren't getting them. Their banks are refusing them. Go try another bank.
Right. Well, definitely thank you for covering that. It's my only concern with the beneficiary thing is account is I haven't heard of that theory being tested enough with results. You know what I mean, Chris? So I guess we're going to have to continue monitoring. What I mean by result is, let's say someone is not charged fees and all the things. I understand the theory behind it, but I would like to really see some people follow through and reach a point where they don't charge fees to the account and so forth. So, yeah.
Yeah, that's that's actually, it's not so much a theory because it's fact. When you get a beneficiary account, you got one. When you can do them like that, I don't know. You could probably start a conversation. Put out a little thing with the people on Legalibus and ask them who all's got it. How can you describe how your beneficiary account, how you set it up, and are you having any problems? Start a conversation. See what's up with it.
That's right.
I've still got mine. I've had my beneficiary account since 2016.
Right.
I tried to close it when I was in prison, and they hadn't been able to. They still haven't. I still got the check for $8.31.
Okay, I see what you mean.
Oh, and another thing about the beneficiary account, you can actually, like I said before in videos, that you don't need to open a beneficiary account. You can take your checks and take a black pen and a ruler and write a straight line across the signature line. Okay, where it says authorized representative.
Mm-hmm.
Black that out. And then sign it with the beneficiary signature. There's people out there that are getting their checks printed with their name and their address and comma beneficiary at the end of their name. And their banks are banking on them. You go 6 months and sign in beneficiary. I got an account that isn't a beneficiary account. And for 2 years, I've been signing beneficiary. Every withdrawal, the checks that I got, it's a beneficiary account because they've transacted with it. They've acknowledged me as the beneficiary. Beneficiary is the title. That's your title. In a trust actions, it's like doctor at the end of your name, or PhD, or DDS. That's your title. When you put BENE period on there, you're in the trust action. That's your title.
Right.
So
that's great. That's great. So perhaps another question that could also benefit everyone, especially as this is the first time Chris is back. So I just want to start with general questions for those who have been waiting for Chris for a while. So Chris, many people are in the forum confused. At your request, the Legalibus courses were posted on the Christopher Hauser study group. Some people go there, some people don't. But people are still asking the same questions. They're trying to figure out how to go to a dealership or whatnot, or they wonder where to start. So where we are today, now that you've come back, and I'm sure we have a lot to learn from you, but where we are today, what would you say to all those who are in the chat group wondering, okay, what should I do? Some were just not motivated because you weren't there, right? They just wanted somehow to know that you're there.
Yeah.
So,
absolutely.
What would you say to all those who may be listening, and when we post the recording, will be also have an opportunity to listen to this call? What would you tell the people who are in the group as to the best way to continue forward in this movement?
Well, one thing that I need to say before we close tonight is the high-end broker. He is in the Bravo phase of his testing. He's got one more phase that he's going to go through, and then he's going to open up. He's going to take care of the cars. Y'all want these cars and stuff, but maybe even by then the bank is up. And like I said, man, when this is up, you're going to be able to come to me with a 1099-A, a contract and a 1099-A, or I could fill it out because I'll have your permission to do this for you. There's not going to be a 90-day waiting period like you're trying to do when you're acting as a trustee for someone. It's not going to work like that. Within a week. It's from the beginning to the end of the process in a week. It's going to take longer for you to close on the house you're buying than it is to get the money. But the broker, I like the idea with the broker because he could take a lot of slack off of what I'm about to start. And he's already got the connections. He's got the connections. He's got the connections with the Bentley deal. And, his family is connected to hundreds of different tips. So cars isn't going to be a problem.
The question that comes back is time frame on that, Chris. Do you have any update on a possible time
Well, they're
frame?
they did the Bravo or the Alpha trials in the summer, and they started the Bravo trials here about 2 weeks ago, and they're just doing this with a few people that they selected,
Right.
just to see how it goes through their thing. They'll probably. I haven't talked to him, but I would imagine that by sometime in December they're in the Charlie phase or ABC phase, and that'll be the last one. The way I understand it, that's going to be the last phase. Once that's done, they're going to pump them through, man. It's sick as fast as this guy's got this stuff playing. And like I said, it's not all about cars, y'all. They're doing yachts, and they're doing he still hasn't said anything about homes yet, but I'm trying to pull up the last email that I got. Won't let me do these all the way on the bottom here. I can't get the verify signal pin. And, yeah. Okay, yeah. I can't remember. I can't breathe.
It's okay. I mean, maybe next Tuesday you might have if you have any update on that, you can always update us. So I don't think it's.
They tend to disappear after so long. But he talked. There was 12 different. There's 12 different companies that he's umbrellaed over. One's for cars, one's for boats, one's for planes and helicopters or aviation. One's for jewelry, one's for insurance, one's for security, one's for guns. These are all non-serial numbered guns. Ceramic, you know what I'm talking about? These guns that that come to you in two parts. Put them together, bam, there you go. This guy's got himself into everything. And from what I understand, that's why there's so many trials, because there's about 12 different companies that the guy's got. They're his companies. And so he even was talking about real estate, although that's not really something that he gets into. He's not a high-end real estate guy. He's all the other luxury pleasure things.
Right.
Operation in December, maybe hopefully by the first of the year. But I'm gonna have my bank up by then. And maybe by then I'll be ready to have a dozen or so folks getting ready to bank.
Right.
And in this network, if you haven't got your bank up yet, in this network, all y'all will be able to go through these people. If you're not getting your your loan and your 1099-A through me, you're going to get it through one of the family. That's how it's going to go down. Because everybody's going to need some funds until they get their bank up, right?
Right.
That's kind of the way I see it. There's a lot of people stressing out because inflation's so crazy. That's not going to be an issue when your bank is up. I mean, think about it. If I was to do 5 loans a week for 200 or for $2 million, that's $1 million a week I'm going to make. I'm not going to care if gas is $9 a freaking gallon. Fill it up.
Right.
Fill it up, guy. I'll be driving one of those things that the Tesla drivers get all pissed off about. Yeah, but I'll have a Tesla too. I like them. They're cool. They're cool. I wouldn't want to crash in the water with one.
I've
I've seen what them lithium batteries will do when they get wet, man. I'm telling you, you don't want to be near that thing.
Yeah.
You sure don't want to crash in the water.
Yeah.
But that's, it is. I know this has taken a long time. I mean, I brought this channel up just a little over a year ago. And I was really hoping that, by May, June, everybody would start seeing this stuff hit home. Some people have. Some people have. And some people aren't going to. Some people are waiting, some people have, and some people aren't going to. Some people it's just not going to work for. There's he had an old guy from New Mexico called my house today a couple of times. And I was tearing down my grandson's trampoline because it's starting to get cold and it's going to get windy tonight. So I took it down, boxed it back up, put it away. I come in the house, the phone's ringing. My wife's like, "That's probably for you. It's some dude." I answered. I took the number down and put it in my cell phone, and I came outside. And he was the old guy that went into a dealership today.
Mm-hmm.
I've been watching all your videos. Really? Yeah, I've seen them all.
Oh.
Every third or fourth video says, "Please don't call my house." Yeah, I know, but I needed to talk to you. Okay, so you can just disregard that. Then he went on to tell me about how and he told the guy asked him for his Social Security number, and he told the guy, "That's a felony." He told the dude at the dealership, "That's a felony to ask me for my Social Security number." And I told him, "Well, you probably shouldn't have done." I said, "You probably shouldn't have done that." I said, "Did you do an application?" "No." He just told me that he couldn't deal with me. I had to come back with a cashier's check. Right?
Right.
So he said, "Well," I said, "Look, man," because he was wanting a conditional acceptance. "I need one of them there conditional acceptances. Can you send me one?" I said, "Okay, hold on. What happened?" And he was telling me, because he's an old guy, I could tell, man, he had been in his 70s, 80s.
Right.
Wasn't quite talking right in the head anyway. And I said, "Dude, I don't think you have watched the videos because you don't even understand what it is you just did. You went in and told the guy that to ask you for your Social Security number is a felony, and that's what you want them to do." "Really?" I said, "Yeah. Did you do an application?" "No." "Well, you do the application so that you can sign it with the beneficiary signature and hand it to him, making him the trustee." "Oh, I didn't know that." "Well, you need to go back and watch the videos." "Well, I'll just go back down there tomorrow, and I'll tell the guy I want to do an application." I said, "You just told him that he was committing a felony by asking you for your Social Security number. Do you really think he's going to give you an application?" See, so there's so many folks. That's why I'm not doing this on YouTube, guys. Once I get this refined,
mm-hmm.
process refined, you'll be able to go to Legalibus, and Legalibus will have a link for where you can go to learn how to do this. Because that's something that I'm going to, for the first year or so, I'm going to monitor personally, really heavily. I don't want people screwing this up. And you got, minor 49er from New Mexico. I told him he's committing a felony. No, bro, it doesn't work like that. I said, "What you need to do," I said, "Look, man, even though I don't like people calling my house, you seem like you really need some help." I said, "So what I'm going to do is I'm going to write your name down here and your phone number with a sticky note, and stay away from the dealerships. I'll take care of you when I get my bank up. I'll take care of you, get you." Okay, buddy. That's what I get. I've had people come to my house since I stopped doing this.
Right.
Just roll up in the driveway. I was out there working in the driveway, had my shirt off, my hair pulled back because it's hot. Working on my truck, and some couple pull up alongside me. You know where Chris Hauser lives? I turned around and said, "Yeah, right here." We stood and talked in the driveway for 3 hours. He said, "Well, I seen on your video where you said if you're ever up in Del Rio, stop by and see old Chris." Apparently, you don't know what sarcasm is. But I talked to the guy, and here's the thing, Jay. I said, "So what are y'all doing, man?" He said, "Well, we come up to celebrate in Gatlinburg. We come up to celebrate." I said, "You did your anniversary or something?" No, we just want to celebrate. We used your process and paid off our mortgage. So we came with our first, what we would have made as a house payment for the month, we decided to come to Gatlinburg and hang out. We just figured we might come up and see you. Stop up and see old Chris.
Right.
I got an ass chewing for the next day over that. And every time people come and visit, I get ass chewing. But man, these people, my family's freaking out. Those could be. You could give somebody some bad advice, and and they get mad and want to come up here and come in the house and kill us all in our sleep. Seriously? So what do you think the odds of that happening are? This guy's asking me where Chris Hauser lives, and I'm standing 20 feet away from him. But they use the process, the remittance process, to pay their mortgage off. And he said, "We just wanted to come up and see you and thank you, and can we get our picture with you before we go?" Another lady and her son came down from. They may even be on here tonight, and if you are, y'all say a prayer for this lady and her son. The father knows who they are. They've had a corrupt city council try to steal their lakefront property, and they have, and what they've done over the last couple weeks has impressed me. They've taken what they've learned and they've went in and they got up there. This older gal, she's up in her 60s, and her son's a little younger than me. But I'm gonna tell you what, these people aren't shaky. What they've done and got up in front of that court's face and told them who's who and what.
I think you're breaking up, Chris.
Process in the making right now. That's going to, when it's all over, that city and that county is going to think twice. So yeah, homeless and sleeping in the back of a pickup truck with a camper top, gas leaking. A big truck with 2 tanks on it, and they're sleeping in truck stops. Just coming down here to see me because they needed some help. Nobody crazy is going to show up at my house. If they do, they're probably going to get their heads blown off. Because I'm not playing when it comes to my family's safety. And so y'all don't roll up in here. Especially uninvited. I have met with a couple of folks. I'll meet you down at the Cracker Barrel. I can go to the Cracker Barrel anytime I want. Not that I need to be doing that because I'm crazy busy, but some people need some serious help. They really do. And I'll bite the bullet and take the ass chewing, whatever. Because in the end, so, do you got any more questions? Yeah, I don't want to take up a lot of time tonight, just rambling. Are you there?
I think that we are hitting the on our mark. I think this is probably a good stopping point for today. I mean, we always have next Tuesday to continue with and go dive more into Q&As. Today was more like the welcome back, Chris, and hear what Chris has to say and hear an update. And so I really appreciate you covered so many things, and you also even answered some of the questions as you were touching up on some of the topics. So thank you for that. I just want to reiterate for a few people on the line who can be noisy at times. Chris has a few admins on the Christopher Hauser study group that are helping to clean up the group. Just so you guys know, Chris is not interested in the numbers. It's not about growing the group at all. But there's also a lot of people making noise and creating distraction and spreading misinformation, about Chris or Chris's whereabouts. So just so you guys know, you got to be careful in that group because any of that will get you kicked out. All right. So this is a time to be serious, and we're all learning, and we just need a little bit more quiet. So I appreciate the cleanup work that you're doing, Chris, to help us and at least be more focused.
Absolutely, Jay. And next week, let's concentrate on Q&A because I know there's
That's right.
questions, and I don't care to answer them. If I can, I'll answer as many as I can. If you want to, if you got some, if you get hit this week with multiple questions, bring those out first, and then we'll go straight into Q&A.
Sounds good. Sounds good. And
All
also,
right.
lastly, what was I going to say? Yeah, just pertaining to what you were saying, whenever Chris is ready to share more, he will. There's no need to ask when the private bank and everything. Chris will give what he wants to give when he wants to give it. And whatever is published on Legalibus, Chris is going to vet it. Chris is going to vet everybody, okay? So,
Yeah, another thing, too, y'all, watch the videos. If you haven't watched the videos, watch the videos. Because that's the whole reason for all this. There's a lot of information in them videos that may not pertain to what it is, because I do get sidetracked from time to time. But listen to them videos, watch them videos, because you need to be well grounded in that too. You need to know who you are and what you can do, because you're getting ready to do the do. That information is important. I wouldn't have shared it if I didn't think it was. So watch the videos if you haven't watched them. And I know people haven't, because there's 500,000 views on the 1099A, and there's only 65,000 views on the very first video that's going to show you, how to act when you're acting around these people that think that they own you. That's why that's a good video to watch. A lot of them are. So watch the videos, and while you're bored, you don't have to crazy binge watch this. Check them out. Go through them and check them out. Know the material that's in there, because I'm telling you, the people that came down and seen me, they studied those videos. They learned that material, and then they went up there and they totally humiliated those courts. Totally humiliated them. But once again, thanks for having me here, y'all, and I really enjoyed it. You guys wouldn't believe how much I missed communicating with y'all.
We thank you, Chris, for being consistent, for being true to yourself and true to this whole mission. So we definitely appreciate that. So we're going to close in prayer. So we pray in nomine Patris et Filii et Spiritus Sancti. Amen. Heavenly Father, we thank you for the opportunity to have this call. We thank you for Chris, for the gift of his life. We ask you to continue to bless him, Chris Hauser, and his family. We ask also that your blessing on everybody on this call. Everybody on this call is somehow looking for some remedy, and so we need your guidance. We need the guidance of your Holy Spirit every step of the way, that we may achieve remedy. So we thank you, Father, We thank you, Holy Spirit. We thank you, Lord Jesus. And may we all have a blessed night in the mighty name of Jesus. Amen. All right. Well, thank you very much, Chris. Have a wonderful night.
All right, y'all.
Have a wonderful night. And hopefully next week we're going to have to answer more Q&As.